Have you ever been working or building a PowerPoint and you're doing the same thing over and over again? One of the things I've observed in the field lately is a lot of times we're trying to fix a lot of the little things in PowerPoint, and a lot of times we're doing it the long way. So just kind of imagine with me, I've got a deck open and I'm trying to consolidate 10 bullets to 3 bullets, or take a 20 page or 20 slide 20 slide PowerPoint and reduce it to maybe 5 or 7 slides so I can present that to my executive. Copilot in PowerPoint is really amazing, and it can do a really great job of helping us do all of that stuff and building really beautiful PowerPoints. However, let's fast forward and maybe next week, you got to do that whole thing over again. So if your business has Copilot premium licenses, this is a setting, a feature that I'm not seeing a lot of people utilize yet, and it's skills in Copilot. Skills in Copilot, just kind of think about a pattern or something that we do all the time. We can take all of that and put it into instructions and then create a skill out of it. And then when we go back to PowerPoint, we can say, use this skill, and it does all of that magic for us. So let me show you how we turn that on and how we use them. All right, let's get to it. So I'm in PowerPoint here, and I've got just a really bland, a really vanilla PowerPoint. Honestly, I don't even want to read through this. So I'm going to show you how we can utilize skills to take us this to the next level. So the first thing that we got to do is open up Copilot. So I can open up Copilot here at the bottom here. And one of the first things that we need to do is I actually want you to switch this over to Anthropic models. So we have GPT and Claude. The reason being, as of right now, skills work best with the Anthropic models turned on. If you have GPT, they may just kind of sit there and may or may not do anything. So for the time being, utilize Anthropic models for this. So hit that selection and switch over to Opus. For Opus 4.8 is completely fine for this. So I've got that turned on. So that's great. The next thing that we need to do is in this plus button, I want you to hit that plus button, and then we're going to go down to choose skills. So in here, I've got all of these 3 different skills. These are skills that were already populated from Microsoft. So let's take a look at what one of these skills can do. So I'm going to open up this background and context, and I'm going to say, visualize this slide. And what this is going to do is going to visualize it in a different format. And I believe it usually generates a picture for us, but it will take a lot of this text and put it in a really cool format. So let's see what it does. All right, so it's all complete. And you see here that what it did is actually created a separate slide and created an image out of this. And when I look at this one versus this one, this is much easier to understand. Now, this is an image. I could choose to keep it and just let it do its thing, but I can also use a skill and then prompt as well. So maybe I want this to be more native PowerPoint so I can edit things. So I can easily ask Copilot to, so I can just kind of just brain dumped into here. But all I asked it was, I like this, but can you make it more native PowerPoint? I didn't know how else to say that. I want to be able to edit. So keep a lot of the structure. I like that. Just make it more native to PowerPoint and not an image. So let's see what it does. So check this out. I actually really like this. I'm actually pleasantly surprised here because I'm not doing any branding here, but it took that image and then visualized it as an editable PowerPoint. So I like this. There it is, skill plus a prompt. But I want to show you how we create our own skills now. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new chat here, and I'm going to hit this plus button, and I'm going to choose skills, and I'm going to hit manage skills. Additionally, you can also go up here at this settings over here and manage skills that way. But I'm going to get plus, choose skills, and I'm going to hit manage skills. And you see here, there's a button called custom skills. It's currently grayed out, so I'm going to hit the arrow to get into it. Now, I've already set up this previously, but if you're brand new at setting skills up, you're going to see something down here that says create library or create skill library or something like that. So what that does, once you hit that, it will create a folder in your OneDrive. So I can hit the skills OneDrive folder and it will go to OneDrive. I'm going to go ahead and open it up there. So once you're in OneDrive, if you hit that skills in OneDrive, is going to bring you here. And this is where all your skills will populate. So as you create skills, this is where they will live. And I want you to pay attention of where it lives, because this is important, especially if you want to upload your own. So it's in your OneDrive under Documents, Copilot, Microsoft PowerPoint, and then there's a skills folder. So that's where all of them will live. Additionally, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, and there's one link here. I want you to hit this Learn More link. When you hit that, it will take you to this page here. This will teach you about all the things around skills in PowerPoint. So if you need if you need something on paper, go here. I want to point you down to creation of skills. So we've got a couple different ways, but if we start building our own skills, there's some requirements of how we build that. The easiest way to build a skill is just use Copilot. So I'm going to head over to Copilot. I'm actually going to copy this URL, and I'm going to say, hey, using this Learn link, help me build a PowerPoint skill, and then add whatever that idea of your PowerPoint skill is. Use AI to build AI. I think this is the easiest way. Don't try to figure things out on your own. You can definitely, if you've got something that you got from someone else, you can add that in there. But if you've got an idea, put your idea, use Copilot, put it down there, and have Copilot do all of the legwork to make sure your skill fits all of the requirements that is needed for adding that skill to your OneDrive into your library. But back to skills. I've already got a couple skills already created. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drop in a bunch of the skills that I've already created with Copilot. So I'm going to drop them in here, and I've got a couple different things. When you click into them, it'll be a skill.md file. So you can open that up and you kind of see what this is. So this is my brand check, and it checks PowerPoint against our team's deck standards and so forth. So, and I've got quite a few of those. So I'm going to go back to skills. I've got my handoff notes that create speaker notes that are made for someone else. I really like this skill because I'm biased. I'm making these notes in the PowerPoint, but I know that I may not deliver this. So make the speaker notes tailored to someone else that can deliver this easily. And then I've got a slide design skill, which I'm going to use at the very last, and then a slide diet. This actually takes a large PowerPoint and consolidates it down and also cuts out some of the fluff. So I've got quite a few skills here that do very specific things for me. All right, let's hop back into PowerPoint and take a look at these skills that we just uploaded. So the first thing I need to do is I need to refresh PowerPoint because I added something to OneDrive. So it's got to reload that there. So already refreshed. Let's go ahead and open up Copilot here. And instead of going down to choose skills, I'm going to go up here and hit manage skills this way. And you see that custom skills is not grayed out. So I'm going to hit the plus, the arrow there, and you see all of my skills here. So the first thing I need to do is just enable the custom skills and everything turns on. I've got all my 4 skills there. If you don't want to kind of go through the path of uploading skills to OneDrive, maybe that seems a little intimidating at first, we can easily create those skills directly within PowerPoint. So I can hit this add skills button and I can upload that. So if I've got a .md file that I made or maybe even got from up here or something, I can upload that here or can easily create them manually. And this is where Copilot comes in handy. When you create that with Copilot, say, I need the name, description, and instructions, and make sure you keep it under 1024 characters because something that I just learned as I was going through this is this right here. I created some skills with Copilot and they were above that 1024 character and I was getting errors and I'm like, I don't know. I created this with Copilot. Shouldn't this work? So cruising through the Learn documentation and then also seeing this, I'm like, oh, I know where I went wrong. So learn from my mistake there. You can easily give a name, title, and description and instructions, and it will automatically create the whole folder structure and the skill file for you automatically there. So just an easy way to do that, but they're all turned on so we can go ahead and start getting going. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit the plus button and I'm going to choose my skills. And the first thing that I want to do is I actually want to check this with my brand check. So this isn't going to do any structuring formatting here. It's just going to make sure that everything, all the wording and everything on here aligns with my brand. So let's see how that goes. All right. Brand check done. What it actually did is actually consolidate some things, rewrote some things, check capitalization. So that looks good. The next thing I want to do is I want to now use my slide diet to kind of remove some fluff. So let's see what that happens when I use my slide diet skill. All right, so that's done. It actually did quite a bit. What we see here is it actually bulleted a lot of things. So it took a lot of that text base and bulleted it. So not a bad thing. We understand bullets more than just a large blanket of text. So I'm happy with this. The next thing I want to do is I want to finish up the design. So we used our brand coach to make sure that the PowerPoint and the text in there is on brand. And then we used our slide diet to kind of restructure and remove some of the fluff. Now I need to take this very vanilla power presentation and turn it into an actual design. So I'm going to use my design slide and just let it do its work. So take a look at this. This is amazing. Remember what that PowerPoint used to look like? That vanilla PowerPoint with just a whole bunch of text on it? 3 skills later, and we've got something that looks like this. This is awesome. It's got some really cool branding and some visual around it, and it just looks great. And it's much easier to understand this information. So that is the power of skills. Being able to take 3 skills and taking a very vanilla PowerPoint and creating this. Just think about things, processes, or patterns in your day that we can maybe think about building a skill out of and applying it to whatever way that you need PowerPoint to work. There's one other tip that I want to give you, something to take you really to the very next level. So at the very bottom here in Copilot, I'm going to hit this plus, and you also see this thing called brand. If you select brand, now I don't have anything in here, but if I did, it would look something similar to this. So you can create your own brand kit within Copilot, or your organization can create a brand kit to apply to everyone in the tenant. And a brand kit is essentially all the colors, the fonts, the images, like icons, and so forth. So you can apply a brand to this PowerPoint and reface this to make sure that it's on point to whatever your organization's brand colors and fonts are. So you can take to the next level with that as well. But there you go. 3 skills. I'd probably say this after everything, this took me about 30 to 40 minutes. It takes some time for Copilot to kind of work through some things, especially this branding probably took me about 10 minutes. But there you go. That probably saved me, I'd probably say at least 4 to 8 hours, a whole day worth of trying to build all this out and make it look visually appealing like this and have the data digestible in this way. So I hope that was helpful. And the thing I would just encourage you guys with is whenever you're using Copilot or AI, just ask Copilot, be curious, and go push some buttons. Bye.